Hello and welcome to Creative Path Workshops. My name is Robert Rodriguez Jr. and in this video I'm going to be doing another image critique of an image submitted by subscriber John Hardwick. Thanks very much for submitting. And first we're going to look at the image and I'll look at what's working in the image from a compositional and a design standpoint, maybe talk about some opportunities for improving the image. And then I'll jump into Lightroom and once again share some ideas and some tips for making the image as strong as possible, always with the mindset of helping you become a better visual storyteller. So with that said, let's jump in. So looking at John's image here, first thing that I really like about this image is, of course, these wonderful lines in the foreground leading us towards our main center of interest here, which is, of course, Stonehenge in England. And that's just a really wonderful, warm, dramatic light here. And then we've got more of these sort of lines from these wispy clouds here with the sun right there, backlit image, which is also very dramatic because the light is coming at us. And that gives us these almost silhouetted stone shapes here, which are really nice, really establishes what the image is about. I also like the foreground here, kind of low to the ground. So again, that gives us a sense of texture and leads us into the image through this, again, through the texture and detail here. And I also like, again, the feeling of warmth in the image, even though we've got lots of shadows here caused by the shapes there. The light is projected through them. That gives a really nice sense of warmth. And so that really helps to make the image kind of inviting, right? And also provides us a sense of the context of this amazing location. Now, in terms of improving the image, I think there's a couple of things that I see that perhaps can be improved. There can be opportunities for improvement. One is in terms of the general composition. While I did mention before that I really like these leading lines in, there's a lot of detail here in the foreground, and a lot of that detail probably isn't needed. We want to get the viewer moving a little bit faster through here to our center of interest. There isn't really anything to explore there, and with such a dominant shape here, group of shapes, identifiable shapes, we really want that to be front and center. There's no need to bog the viewer down with grass, detail of grass. So I would probably think about perhaps making a crop around here along the bottom, maybe a tiny bit less. And then the other thing is that by cropping that way, that lowers the horizon a little bit. It lowers where these stones are sitting in the image, giving us proportionally a bigger area of sky. And the sky provides the context for the image because the sky is very soft and diffuse, and then you've got the dominant shapes in the foreground. I think from a compositional standpoint, that'll just help the image be much more direct and feel more grounded, if you will. We also have some little artifacts here that I think we can get rid of, little lens flares here, here, and here. And then the last thing is, from an editing standpoint, what I see here is trying to emphasize, number one, the energy and the feel of the light. And we can do that in various ways. One way is to introduce a little bit of coolness into some of these shadows, because making the adjacent areas to the light cooler is going to make the light feel warmer and stronger without having to actually saturate the light, if you will. And the other thing I think we can do is to maybe add a little more depth to these stones so that you can really see the dimensionality of them. And the last thing is perhaps push the sky back a little bit so it doesn't feel so dominating. Right now, this big area of blue is pretty much as saturated, as dominant as the greens. And those two things I think are competing slightly. I think if we let the sky fall back a little bit and let it be a little bit more of a backdrop, that'll let the light and the warmth come forward even more. So in order to do that, let me show you how I would approach that. Let me jump into Lightroom here now. I am in Lightroom. Let me jump into a virtual copy of the image. And I'm going to start from scratch because it's just easier for me versus trying to do adjustments on top of what John did, even though I think John did a really nice job with his adjustments. First, let's talk about the cropping. And I'm just thinking of a crop something like this. And so we don't push the stones too much to the left. I'm going to move this over a little bit like that. And I just think this gives us a little bit more, makes the Stonehenge a little more dominant in the image. Now let's do our basic adjustments. I'm going to change the profile to landscape from the default color. That usually tends to give us a little more variation in the sky, particularly where the sky is very bright, and also opens up a little bit of the shadows. I'm going to leave the exposure where it is. That pretty much looks okay. I'm going to pull down the highlights somewhat, even though I'm going to want to use a sky mask, a separate mask for the sky, but this just starts to get us in the ballpark, if you will, right? More into the sense of what the image should feel like. I'm going to adjust my whites here, around there, holding down the Option key to get this overlay. I'm going to pull down the blacks, something like that. I'm going to push up the shadows. Okay, so we can see the shadows, and then now we can start to darken and lighten and adjust those areas where we want. I'm going to add some texture, of course, mostly for the foreground. And I'll add some clarity to the image overall, not too much, maybe a little bit more vibrance. Okay, so there's our before and there's our after. We're starting to get the image looking better, getting everything to feel more cohesive. Now, before I go any further, now that we've added more contrast, let me get rid of these blemishes so that, because we see them a lot easier now. So I'm going to zoom in. And I'm going to press Q on my keyboard to bring up the remove tool. For this one here, I'm probably going to go with just a heel. And sometimes this doesn't actually pick from the right place. Okay, not working too well. Let me try that again. Move this over here somewhere. Okay, there we go. Sometimes you have to make little adjustments to make sure that you're getting the source and the destination just right. Okay, these over here, a lot easier. I'm going to, once again, press Q, make this a lot smaller. I don't know why it goes and selects from up there. That's obviously not right. Pull this down. And once again, I'm going to move this one over a little bit. There we go. Click there. That's fine. Let's get rid of this little blue dot there. And I'll pull from here because that's the same stone. There's some other little blemishes here. For this, I'm going to use the AI. It'll be probably better. So I'm going to change or switch to the AI, remove, and we will make a little selection here. Click on remove, wait for it to do its thing, and that did a pretty nice job. Now I'm going to move over this way, and here's another interesting one that probably want to use the AI for. And the key here is to make a big enough selection where it has context to see what's around that blemish so that it knows what to put in its place. All right, there you go. That's pretty nice. Let's do another one over here. Same thing. I'm going to use the AI. And I probably want to stay within this region here. Click on remove. That did a nice job. We can darken this a little bit just to make that haze or that little light, that bright spot there a little bit darker. There was another one over here. I'm going to switch back to the heel. And the heel is just a bit faster, so we don't have to let the AI try to do any computation. All right, and that worked out pretty well. So that's really nice. We've gotten rid of all those blemishes, a lot cleaner. Now I think I want to add some more contrast. We'll come down to the tone curve. And I'm using the tone curve because this gives us more flexibility in terms of adjusting tone or adjusting contrast. I can adjust the highlights independently of the shadows, something I can't do with the general contrast slider. Now, I mentioned before about the sky, so I think I want to first make the sky a little richer and provide some more separation between the sky and the clouds, separation between the blue of the sky and the clouds, to get those lines, those leading lines into the image working better. So I'm going to come up to the masking tool up here, add a new mask, select the sky. And for this, we'll pull down on the highlights. Something like that. Maybe introduce a little bit more contrast into that. And then I'm going to come down to the effects, add some clarity, which again will give us more separation. That's essentially mid-tone contrast. And then also add some dehaze, which also in some cases can help our sky just have a little bit more depth. So that looks a lot better for our sky. That's before and that's after. I also mentioned pushing the sky back a little bit. You'll notice now that the sky looks great in terms of the clouds, but that blue in the sky is very rich. And I feel for me like it's pulling us away from our main area and up into this area there. It's not letting the warmth of the light really dominate the image. And so never be afraid to make adjustments. Not everything has to be to volume 10, if you will. So I'm going to do that by coming down to the color mixer. And first thing is, I'm going to darken the sky a little bit. That'll give us even more, let the clouds come out a little bit more. And also that lets the light feel stronger and more luminous, if you will. But here's the key. I'm going to come over to the saturation and pull some of the saturation out of the sky. And by doing that, you can see how we adjust the way the foreground, the relationship between the light in the foreground and the sky in the background. It lets the foreground come forward. It lets the stones dominate more and lets the sky fall to the back, particularly when you notice that we've got a huge part of the scene of the image. The composition is the sky. Now, to emphasize the feeling of light even more, another thing we can try is we can come over to the color grading, and what I want to do is add a little bit of coolness to the shadows. That gives us more depth. And the way to do that is typically when you come to this color grading panel, you'll see the three different zones you can adjust: shadows, midtones, and highlights. But up here you can go to each one individually, and because I want to adjust shadows, I'll just click on that to make it easier to show you. And I'm just going to click and drag this circle away from the center. This starts to add that hue, the hue that we select. It starts to saturate that hue into the shadows. And I'm going to put it down, maybe something like that, saturation 25. So we're adding that amount of saturation. And the hue is 225. I just kind of know through experience that 225, 230 is kind of a coolish blue. And you can see that here on the color wheel as well. So we're pulling into the blues. You see how that throws, again, a tiny bit of coolness just into the shadows, giving us more energy with the light. So that's before, and that's with it. And this is always going to be a very subtle adjustment. We can always come back up to the basic panel and warm up the image a little bit more if we wanted to. Something like that. But once again, that's where we are now. That's our before doing any adjustments. And that's our after. Now I think the last step is to add some dimension to the image. And typically I like to do this with dodging and burning. So I'm going to press K on my keyboard. That'll give me a brush to create a mask. And the first thing I'm going to do is set my exposure to minus 37 or 38 or so. This is going to be darkening. And you'll notice that when I lower my flow a little bit so that I'm a little more subtle here, there's some little patches here that we can sort of just create a little bit more depth in the foreground. Maybe a little bit in there. But most importantly, I want to darken some of the edges of these stones. So right here, right there, that gives us more dimension. I'm going to lower the flow a little bit and just darken these stones inside of those sun rays. That gives us, again, a little more energy there. Makes the light feel a bit stronger there. And then this edge of the stone here, maybe this little crack in there, this in there, maybe up there we've got a little bit of a darkening in the stone. This stone here, I'm going to darken the backside, maybe in here, maybe there, and for sure here. I'm also going to zoom in here and address this there by lowering my flow a little bit and just seeing if we can soften this a bit. Maybe that little edge there too, something like that. So now if I turn this mask off, that's without it, and that's with it. You can see how that adds a very subtle dimension to the stones, but definitely visible, something that you can definitely see. I'm also going to maybe just add a little bit more darkening at the base of the stones here where the shadows start. And again, that'll ground them even more, and then let that kind of lighten up as we move towards the foreground where there's a bit more light. And then I'm going to press K one more time. That'll give us a dodging brush and maybe just a little bit of a few little highlights here and there. So just right here in the foreground, and then just there where again that light is, maybe there, maybe in here and in there. And this is a very subtle, these are very nuanced adjustments. I just think add the finishing touch to the image, if you will. So there's our before, and there's the after. And then I'm going to show you just the original image and some of the adjustments that I think make the image a little more evocative, if you will. Main thing that I want you to notice here is, number one, notice how there's more depth and dimension in the stones versus here. And number two, notice how here, once again, there's the same amount of energy or dominance, if you will, in the sky and in the foreground, which kind of makes the image feel like you're not really sure where you should rest your eye. You keep going up to the sky here. Here, it's very clear to see that while the sky is there as a backdrop and the blues are very important, the light dominates the scene and Stonehenge is really the focal point of the image. Also, we get to Stonehenge a lot quicker here because we're not traveling through so much of the foreground here. So I hope that was helpful and it gave you some good ideas and strategies for developing your own images. If you would like an opportunity to have one of your images critiqued, be sure to check out the Creative Path newsletter. You can find the subscription link down in the description. And I put out a regular call for images. And of course, you can submit an image there. The only stipulation is that once I select your image, you only get one opportunity per lifetime. This allows others to have an opportunity as well. However, if you would like an opportunity to have your images critiqued on a regular basis, as well as learning more about composition, visual design, and storytelling in general, then be sure to check out the Creative Path Academy, where we discuss all of these things regularly on a monthly basis through interactive sessions on Zoom, and I provide lots of feedback and opportunities to help you grow as a photographer. Thanks very much for watching. See you next time.